Welcome back to My Conscious Dad on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we are talking about authenticity, and I think we were going to get into talking about being authentic as a parent.
Yeah, authentic parenting. What does that mean to you, Rafael?
As I said earlier, it means modeling authenticity, being the best person that you can be, because your kids learn by what you do, not by what you say.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was just with a group of parents last night, and I was really, breaking down the perspective that your kids are watching everything you do. They're studying you. They know more about you than you know about yourself because they're watching everything you do. And I think it was a tough pill for a lot of them to swallow, or to have somebody kind of serve it up a little bit raw. Yeah. And I think that, to have somebody break it down for you in a raw like that is a little bit disturbing, because I remember for the first time when I got stuff broken down, for me, it was disturbing. But for me, when I'm disturbed, I have breakthroughs. I don't know if that's also the same with you. Like when I first was getting raw information or feedback, or somebody painting a picture for me that I couldn't see, it was a little disturbing, but that's when I had breakthroughs.
The way I like to say it is that breakdowns lead to breakthroughs.
That's right.
What I like about what you're doing is that you're creating parenting classes. To drive a car, you need to get a license. In order to do most jobs, you need to get certified. But to have a kid, it's just natural. You fall in love, and then all of a sudden, there's another one. Where did that come from? And most parents don't have parenting training. I think it's very, very much needed in our society. Because, like you said, the kids are watching everything. Sure, because we absorb at a high rate. Now in schools, they're actually giving kindergarten kids fractions to do, and they do it. Whereas I struggled in the 5th and 6th grade to just understand that concept. Whereas now kindergarten kids, they're playing classical music for them. We absorb at such a high rate when we're young. We're actually brilliant. And then, of course, it curves out, And women do mature quicker than men. So for parents who are listening, your daughter is a few years mentally ahead of your son. Even if the son is a year older, the daughter's still ahead of him mentally.
But they're like sponges. They're absorbing everything. That means
because they want to be like you. You're God to them. You're God in their world.
Yeah.
They want to be exactly like you. So I love when people come into therapy and they say, I hate my mother. I don't want to be like my mother. And I say as a therapist, well, you're just like her. And they get all upset until I show them how their behaviors are actually mimicking the thing that they don't like about their parent. Because most people wire their pain either to their mother or their father. As you know well from the trainings, right?
Absolutely.
Mommy-daddy process.
That's right. And that's why I think that, as a conscious parent, you got to be committed to getting rid of your past, or surrendering the past, or letting go of some of the emotional baggage that you still carry with you, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. We hold some of that stuff, and to finally get a chance, especially in a training room, in a transformational training room, where you're set up and teed up in a safe place, to be able to release some of that cathartically, let go of all that stuff, so it could free you up to be present in the new moment, reinventing yourself as a parent.
Yeah, you and I come from that genre of transformational workshops and trainings, but I wonder if the listeners who haven't done that type of work, what avenues they could take. Well, read your new book that's coming out. Buy some books. Seek out counseling. It's a healthy mind that goes to therapy. Sick people don't think there's anything wrong with them. So it's a healthy mind. So going into therapy, I think, is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
Because it helps you to get some insights into yourself. And if you told me that by going into therapy, I would be happier, freer, and live the life that I've always wanted, I would have said, where do I sign up for that? But nobody told me that.
I don't know why.
I went in because I had to look at, my issues.
Yeah. I don't know why therapy has a negative connotation to it. I don't know why people are so turned off by it. I get a lot of people that'll come to me as a life coach,
sure,
and they're like, "Oh, I came to you because therapy doesn't work," or just the word life coach, all of a sudden it means something different, and it's still it's the same thing.
That's right.
We're working on ourselves. We're getting rid of some of the things and letting go of some stuff so we can free ourselves up to be in the present moment and creating ourselves.
You know where that stigma comes from? The ego. There's nothing wrong with me. I need to protect myself. The best metaphor I like is when I came here today. You actually sent an Uber driver to get me. And if he's listening, a little shout out to the Uber driver today. But it's like every day that you get up, you're about to walk out of your house, and your ego actually drives up in a stretch limo. And it says, come on, get in. And you're about to get in, and it says, no, get in the back. And you're about to get in the back, and it says, no, get in the trunk, and it locks you in the trunk. And then it drives to work, and you think it's you. That's one metaphor that I like. So the work is actually unlocking the trunk, getting into the back seat, eventually getting into the front seat, and then eventually tapping your ego on the shoulder and say, you know what? I'll drive the car now. You sit in the back.
Nice.
That's one metaphor that I like. Another one that I heard that it's stayed with me for years is you walk up to a screen door, and there's a big pit bull on the other side of the door foaming at the mouth, and it jumps up and barks really loud, and you're taken aback. But in the house, you hear the master say, sit, Butch, and the dog sits. Well, most people's pit bulls or egos are running down the street with no collar and no leash. So it's your job to get a collar around them, get a leash on them, get them behind the door, and teach them how to sit. That's what will help you to become a good parent and put a good product into the world. I mean, I'm sitting here next to your daughter, and not only is she lovely, but I can tell she's a good person. So you've done a great job with your daughter. It took work, it took time, it took an investment. It took doing the right thing to get her to be a good product.
But you know what's amazing was I never looked at it like I'm going to work on my kids.
Right.
What I got clear in my early 20s was I need to work on me.
Right.
And if I just focused on working on me and reinventing new versions of myself and really fine-tuning all the, fears and doubts and insecurities, and I just start focusing on my light and shining my light, then that I had a trust that some of that would overflow and spill onto my kids.
It worked, Alex.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Yeah.
I really like the dog analogy, not just because I'm a dog person, but because I obviously don't have any kids, and I have 3 dogs who, they're hard to control, and sometimes I think this is the controlling type of parenting that you would be doing. You tell them no, and you tell them sit and to go in their bed, and you do all the basic stuff, but there's no there's no practice when it comes to being authentic or being a coaching style parent. There's really nothing that you have other than when your kids are there already to start practicing that. So if you're not a parent yet and you're listening, or you're younger, you're about to be a parent, or your kid is very young right now, what would you guys say when it comes to, I guess, parenting authentically, or getting past the controlling stuff as they get older?
An anecdote came to my mind. A gentleman asked the doctor what would be the best medicine to do that, and the doctor said love is the best medicine. And so the person said to the doctor, but what if it doesn't work? And the doctor said, double the dose.
Yeah, absolutely. Like get down, and it's funny because I tell a lot of my clients, I have them rate themselves in different categories of being: loving, caring, compassionate. And they rate themselves, some at 8s and 9s. When it comes to loving their kids, 8s, 9s, and 10s. And then I'll say, what happens if I brought your kids in and have them rate you? Do you think they'll rate you the same number? Because we can see ourselves as loving as an 8 or a 9. But the question is how is it showing up to other people? Are they experiencing your love at an 8 or a 9? Yeah. And there's a good possibility that they're not. Right. So for me, the power comes in, if I feel like I'm an 8, 9, how do I have an 8 and a 9 land to other people in my inner circle?
I think feedback's the key there. Feedback is indispensable.
A wonderful gift, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I'll go back into my own life. As a child, I was not motivated positively. There's studies done that Jewish people succeed more than any other race of people. Why do they have more doctors, more philosophers, more musicians? Because Jewish mothers tell their kids when they're really young, you can do anything you want. You're the smartest kid in the world. It's something cultural that
I
they do.
love that. That's amazing.
Now,
It's an affirmation.
You bet. And that's why they succeed, because kids buy what you tell them. Now, when I was a kid, my dad had good intentions, but, he was uneducated. He signed his name with an X. Don't forget, I'm an older gentleman now. My dad lived till he was 95. He was born in 1902, my father. So he motivated me negatively. He always used to say to me, if you don't work harder, you're never going to amount to anything. So I bought, I'm never going to amount to anything.
Right.
So it takes affirming. And we were tracking.
And I'm sorry to cut you off. As a Hispanic man or a Hispanic kid, I grew up with the toughen up, don't cry.
That's right.
Be strong. Be a man.
Right.
Which now affirms that to be a man and to be strong, I can't show my emotions.
That's right. Yeah.
So it has a negative connotations just as much as the affirming.
Right.
And the powerful building up.
Yeah. So feedback is very important. Get the feedback. Look. Assess. Make changes.
Yeah, and double the dosing of love.
Double the dose of love.
Yeah, keep working on being vulnerable, bringing the walls down.
Yeah.
Expressing yourself, expressing your love at a deeper level.
To the ego, Alex, vulnerability is weakness.
I know that.
But to authenticity, vulnerability is strength.
Oh my God, amazing.
That's why I love that statue of Jesus with his arms open. It's like, I think it's the Course in Miracles that has a wonderful statement. It goes like this: in my defenselessness, my safety lies. So the less I defend, the more I am. The less I resist anything, nothing can happen to me. So, I've actually squashed arguments in corporations in big meeting rooms with big executives where their egos were getting all huffy and everything. And I just did not resist. I just looked at them with love. And it went, you're weird, they said to me.
Aren't you going to say anything?
You're going to fight back?
Yeah.
No, everything is cool. Peace,
Yeah.
It seems cliche in this day and age, but the truth is, as much as things change, as much as they stay the same.
Even in martial arts, they teach to go with whatever's coming at
like
you.
Like an Aikido.
Yeah, rather than showing force or resisting.
That's right.
It's to flow with it. It's to let it,
let it be.
Really to never really let a punch hit you.
That's
it's
right.
Kind of just, that's masterful.
That's right.
Mastery.
But that's what we're all doing here. I think everybody, all of us in this room, all the people listening, we're all in Human Being 101. How many people have I had in therapy over the past 35 years, and it's all been the same? I think there's a handful of issues and a handful of behaviors that people go through.
You mean all the same ones, right?
It's all the same ones.
That's right.
We're all doing the same thing.
We get the same people. I see some of my clients. They're almost. I see almost the same client showing up, just different faces, different names.
Right. My guru in India said that to me too. He says, why suffering? Of course, if you go into Buddhism, the Buddha said suffering occurs when you're attached and you expect things. So if you're expecting something, you're going to suffer. And if you're attached to something, you're going to suffer. My guru said it to me a little bit different. He said to me, the reason that there's suffering in the world is that the many are seen where there is only one. The many are viewed where there's really only one. So we're really more all the same. And we're all here in Human Being 101 learning the same thing. We're all learning how to master ourselves. And then I hope I get to meet you in Human Being 102, which
Absolutely.
I think is the next step,
I'm gearing myself.
Yeah,
ready for
me
it.
too.
I saw this beautiful quote today on Facebook. I wanted to share it with you.
Sure.
Actually, right now you brought it to my attention. It says, parenthood is about raising and celebrating the child you have, not the child you thought you'd have. It's about understanding your child is exactly the person they are supposed to be. And if you're lucky, they might teach you or they might be the teacher who turns you into the person that you're supposed to be.
That's perfect.
Isn't that amazing?
That's perfect.
Yeah, and it goes to show, for me, the aha moment is realizing that my son and my daughters have their own journey. And it's my job to not get in there and try to muscle the journey, but assist them and guide them through that and empower them, throw out these powerful seeds and remind them that they can handle whatever circumstance comes up. And it's to fan that flame, as well as, working on myself and being a better role model for them too.
That's right. You have to be like that woman at West Point. She was watching all the color guard go by. You know how they all march at West Point?
Yeah.
With their rifles, all the white pants with the stripes and everything. And the woman said, look, Everybody's out of step but my son. He could do no wrong in her eyes, right? She was just there to support him, even though, I mean, think of the joke. He was the only one that was out of step.
So when we talk about authentic parenting, your model, I mean, it's simple. It's, showing them, being the role model of what authenticity looks like.
Right.
And I think that, for people that don't really know who they are, haven't discovered who they are, don't know what their authentic self looks like, where do we start? Where's the starting point?
Well, of course, being a businessman, I do live here in America. You could start with my book, The Art of Balance.
I love it.
That has that exercise of authenticity in it. And that's the way you could go.
I think that, just even listening to the show, you've already started the process. You're already on that journey. For me, it's what's next. Mm-hmm. It's like, don't get comfortable and settled in wherever you're at. Let's keep digging. For me, even for myself, I can easily get, comfortable, and I'm always figuring out, doing self-reflection and going, all right, what's next for you, Alex? What do you want? Yeah. What are you ready for? What's the next,
Are you
adventure
really
for you?
Playing to win, or are you playing not to lose?
That's right. That's right. And you got to, and for me, it's always checking in with myself and figuring out what's the next level for me. Even in my own parenting, I got to figure out what I need to do to get myself to that next level.
Was that a 2-minute warning?
It was, but it was for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm new to this.
He's supposed to learn how to do it incognito, but
I see.
He's a work in
Ladies
progress.
and gentlemen, I'm sitting here in the studio with these wonderful people, and they're making all these hand signals. And being Italian myself, I was about to gesture back to them, but I held myself back because I'm really having a good time today. I hope that the listeners are enjoying this as well.
I believe they are. You used to be a pit boss, so you should be used to all those signs.
I do. Would you like me to say something in Italian for you?
Yes, I would.
Get in the trunk.
Or forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah, that means many things.
Yeah, I love all that stereotype. But and people in the training, because of my raspy voice and my look, say, are you in the mafia? And so I would normally ask them, do you know who Enrico Fermi is? Do you know who Enrico Fermi is?
I don't.
Oh, only the Italian scientist that split the atom. Oh, you mean he wasn't in The Sopranos? Right. You wouldn't have a radio in your car if it wasn't from Marconi. Of course, the people who brought you to Renaissance, but I can go on and on.
So I have another question from a kid's perspective.
Should we save it for after the break?
Yeah,
or
we
you
can
want to tee it up? Why don't you tee it up for us?
Okay, I'll tee it up real quick. It's basically from the kid's perspective. We're seeing you guys, and I know you say that, I guess, authentic parenting comes from modeling and being the example. My question kind of comes from the kid's perspective, seeing your parents be the example, and sometimes it's not necessarily a good example. So I'll go ahead and I guess, say my actual question when we come back from the break. So stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to My Conscious Dad on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. If you're just joining us today, we talked about authenticity, and we only have a couple of minutes here left. But one of the things I wanted to mention, I guess, to listeners who are parents, is that there's a common misconception as a parent that your kids are doing what you say, and they're not. We're actually doing what you do. So, as Raphael was explaining the idea of modeling and being the example, a lot of people, I think, separate themselves from that and say, oh, my kids don't do that. My kids do what I say. And we might be doing what you say, but we're also doing what you do. So if what you're modeling or what you're being the example of isn't authentic or honest or loving or all of those things that we were naturally born to be, then they're not going to be those things either. So I just kind of wanted to mention that.
That's an excellent insight, because they're doing more. Children are doing more what their parents do than what they say. Percentage-wise, I think it could be 90-10.
You know what? I just got a vision of having an argument with one of my kids. Mm-hmm. If I'm arguing with my son or my daughter, I'm basically modeling and teaching them how to argue.
How to argue,
right?
Yeah.
Isn't that really what's going on?
Welcome to law school. They teach people how to argue.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah, and if I'm if they have an opinion or a perspective and I'm considering it and open to it, then what I'm really teaching them is to be open to some of the ideas that I have, and we're negotiating our opinions, and we're teaching each other, and we're influencing and empowering each other, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings is, he who holds the most perspectives is king.
I love that. I love that because for the last 15, 18 years, that's what I've been practicing, is figuring out how to see it a new way.
That's right.
Because my commitment to help people is, if I can figure out 5, 6, 12 different ways of looking at your scenario and then explaining that to you, and you can have new insight, you can make from new insight a new choice, or new choice a new result.
I just gave you one of my biggest secrets in corporate life on how I get teams to be more productive, increase their sales 300%, get the job done, be happier at work, make more money for their employers. That's the key.
That is.
What are alternate perspectives here?
And the cool thing is, you're not going to charge me for the aha moment I just had.
Oh, no way.
But
I'm here out of my heart today.
But I'll buy you lunch. How's that? And the Uber driver.
Oh, if the Uber driver is listening, you just got lunch.
Yeah, so make your way back over so we can do that. But
this has been great.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And that's what we talked about, right? Playful.
Yes.
Fun.
Yes.
And loving and laughing and all. That's what I love to do. To me, I feel like a little kid. Like I feel like I'm living a dream. Like I go to work and it doesn't feel like work. I'm excited because we're having a good time, and I know you do too. I've seen you do your thing. I know in the training rooms you got to be fun and light and authentic, and that's what it really it's about. And our parenting can be like that too.
That's right.
We can parent and have fun and enjoy ourselves, and we don't have to be so serious trying to be somebody that we've decided that we think we need to be.
It's a gift to be alive, Alex.
It is. If you choose to see it like that. Some people aren't seeing it like that.
It takes work. There's a lot of suffering that goes on in the world.
So
that's why fellows like you and I are here.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how can we get a hold of you and all the great stuff that you got going on.
I have an 800 number. It's 1-800-657-1120. I'll repeat it. 1-800-657-1120. My website is...
First of all, how come I don't have a 1-800 number?
Well, I'm old, and it's been grandfathered in.
Got it.
Who answers the 1-800 number? Do you have an assistant that'll forward the call to you?
It rings right into my office.
Oh, okay.
What's your website?
My website is www.authentictech.com. It's spelled AUTHENTICTECH.com.
You know, we don't use the wwws anymore, right?
Okay.
Well, that's how old you are.
My book is titled The Art of Balance, so theartofbalance.com will get you there.
And can we buy the book on your website?
You can.
Okay.
RaphaelNatali.com. And so I have a website that has a lot of videos, write-ups on the models, the behavior modification models, testimonials from the veterans and all the people that have done the work, videos.
And who do you work with specifically? I know you work with corporations.
Mostly in the past 10 years, it's been corporations. I do have a small therapy practice for people who want to do the work individually.
I love it.
In the corporations, it's a lighter version of the work. I don't take them into their issues. I use a set of guidelines, like I told you one when we were in the office. Have the willingness to give up the need to be right. Your ego is stuck in being right. Just be willing to look at alternate perspectives.
Yeah, all the interpersonal addictions that we might possibly have that's getting in the way of growing and getting ourselves to the next level.
Should I give the listeners another one?
Yeah.
Minimize complaining, blaming, and gossiping.
Oh,
doesn't work.
Can you imagine what your life would look like?
I didn't say eliminate it. Sometimes you have to vent on the 405. I get it.
I was about to say, if I can't gossip in the office, I don't know what I'll do.
That's right. But think of all the time you're wasting. Think of how much more productive you could be. Think about all the things that you can manifest and have your dreams manifest if you had that time.
What about giving up the goodie that you're going to get, the payoff that you would get from all the complaining, whining? You have to be willing to give up those things too. There's a lot of surrender when it comes to personal growth. You got to give up some things.
One of my favorites is appreciate and celebrate. Be grateful every day for each interaction, for something. I mean, the way I like to say it is I always complained about not having any shoes until I met the guy with no feet. So even if I've had a really bad day, when I'm in bed at night, I say, Dear Lord, thank you for the roof over my head. Thank you for living in America. thank you for my friends and my business and the life that you've given me, even when I've had a bad day.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful for you for being here today. Thank you so much. It's an honor. And I love getting around you and hanging out and playing to both of our kindred spirits and our authentic selves. And it's fun. So thank you for being here. Appreciate
Thank you for having me, Alex. I
Absolutely.
enjoyed this, meeting your staff and your lovely daughter. This has been great. I hope the listeners enjoyed it as well.
I think they did. Thank you.
Sounds great. Join us next week for more of My Conscious Dad. If you missed any of this week's episode, you can always hear it online and find the podcast online. Also, if you want to go back and find the authentic questions, I think that'd be a really good idea. My dad and I got a lot of insight.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for next week. We have Erica Tao, an amazing coach, an amazing human being. She's going to be in contribution, also contributing author in my book.
Oh, great.
Sounds great. Thank you for joining us today on My Conscious Dad with me, Jasmine Urbina, and my dad, Alex Urbina. We're here every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.